Yeah, about 90 seconds on YouTube.
All right, so we are good there. And, yeah, I mean, I don't got much pre-show stuff to do today, so I guess we might as well just kick it right off, right, and just get right into it.
I mean, if we're gonna put everything into an hour, then yeah, I'd say we dive right in and get the party started. And
Oh, yeah.
It's good to be back. Yeah.
so good to be back. So good. Missing our boy Joey physically, but he's with us on the Bluetooth, on the phone, on the connection.
What up?
So that's what matters. We got Joey still with us. Just don't have the physical presence and that wonderful smile to.
To be honest, I can't blame him for being physically ill, though. Because this past sports weekend, if you were in New York, you were probably made ill because of what happened. It was horrendous. I mean, we could start right off with the World Series. Yankees down 3-0. No one, I didn't see this coming. Like, I thought it would be a way more evenly matched series than this. Now, granted, they haven't blown the Yankees out. Every game has been like where the Yankees have had a chance. Even last night, if Torres gets on, they have a chance with the tying run coming to the plate. So they haven't been great. Aaron Judge hasn't been great. 091 during the World Series so far.
Ouch.
He is not playing to MVP standards, and it sucks.
Not at all.
But nobody else in this lineup. The whole bottom of the lineup isn't hitting. Outside of Verdugo's home run last night, they're really not hitting. And, you know, you got to start with one. It's never been done in the World Series. It's only been done once in baseball, and that's the 2004 Red Sox against the Yankees 20 years ago. So, I mean, maybe they're looking for a reversal, but they need a miracle. But it starts with tonight. They got to find a way and just play it one game at a time. They have to have a one-game mindset. Every game from here on out is elimination. It's win or go home. So they either need to come in and change that mindset. Now, to be honest, they made a move in the lineup today, and I don't know why. It baffles me. I would have to ask Boone, and if this is analytics, then I would throw the analytic department out the window. But instead of either moving Judge somewhere in the order and dropping Judge, and really they should be batting him fourth, batting Giancarlo third with the way they've been hitting, they instead decide to drop Giancarlo to fifth and bat Chisholm in the four hole in the cleanup spot. And to me, I just don't understand that move. If you're gonna make a move, you have to move Giancarlo up. He has to get more at bats, not less at bats. He needs to be in front of Judge, not behind Judge at this point. It doesn't make sense. And it didn't make sense in game one to bring Nestor in. They should have brought Hill in. Nestor coming off of a 37-day layoff to come in and pitch. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go back to that. And then I'll tell you what, it was at game 2 where Torres's ball almost went over the wall, but there was fan interference. Is that game 2, Joey? I believe that was game 2, right?
I thought that was.
I think game 1.
Is that game 1?
Was game 1, yeah.
Is that game 1?
I think that was game 1, yeah.
Okay, game 1. They should have had that game because that should have been a home run. That ball would have hit the top of the ball and would have went over. The Dodger fan literally gave them the win. And I'm sorry, I get it that they can't overturn it once it happens because there's not enough evidence to overturn the call that was made on the field. Regardless, and it would have went the other way if it was called a home run. They wouldn't have enough evidence to overturn it. And that's the excuse they would have used. Even though we have replay and all this other stuff, and they could show you the angle of the ball from start to finish, from the pitcher's hand to where it lands in the stands. But they can't do that for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course they can, but they're going to go under the guise of we can't. So they lose a close game 1. They had a chance again in game 2. These games haven't been blowouts. And that's the one thing the Yankees have in their favor. Other than that, though, they haven't played right. They've looked like an inferior team. They haven't made the right moves. Boone hasn't made any of the right adjustments, in my opinion. And after this, I mean, you saw what happened in 17, Joey, after the Yanks lost to lost to the Astros. They went out and fired Girardi, or was that 16?
No, that was 17.
That
and
was
then they went out
17.
and traded for Stanton.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
So
signed Stanton.
no, they traded
Whatever.
for him. They traded for him. Which, by the way, I do hear the back end of his contract gets more favorable for the Yankees as the Marlins pick up more of it. But even still, he can't run, and that's a problem. He's great, but he can't run.
Well, why
And-
would you even send him yesterday?
They
That's
sent
what
him
I don't
because they thought they had a chance. With anybody normally running, you probably have a
Stop it.
chance. Now I get
Stop
it going
it.
back in hindsight. If you look at it, they really should have never have sent him because he
Correct.
wasn't even at
He's
third base when the
slowest
guy
fucking
picked up the
person on
ball.
planet.
But he wasn't even at third base yet. He wasn't even there. So this has been an absolute shit show. It's been a mess. And they need Gil to get it back on track. But to me, it worries me when we have a guy like Cole who's supposed to be our ace and he's getting pulled after 88 pitches in game one because that's the max he can give you when he's pitching a gem and still throwing 98. I don't understand some of these moves. And if Cole was okay with that, and I get that I'm okay with not pitching him tonight. I don't think he should pitch on short rest. If we somehow win tonight, especially down 3-0, I would rather him pitch on full rest in game 5 trying to get us back to LA. But he's got to go more than 88 pitches. He's your guy.
I mean, you're not going to pitch again until March. So why wouldn't you? I mean, to me, right? Like it's like you said, you started the convo with the perfect statement, right? It's like it's win or go home. It boils down to that. So why not throw the best that you have out there? And if you throw him out there and, after 2-3 innings, he's not giving you what you want, then you pull him. Like, it is what it is. I mean, you can run every starter you have if you want to try and stay alive, and then you figure it out in the next game. I mean, I understand that I am not a baseball guy, right? I don't know all the ins and outs of baseball, but sports boils down to, do you want to keep playing or do you want your season to be over? If you want to keep playing, you're going to do everything and anything you can to keep playing. And then when you get to that next game, you figure it out then when you get to that next game. So I genuinely don't.
I don't know if they got enough killer instinct mentalities on this team. I don't know if they have, because when I'm watching guys like Torres go Olay and letting balls go by him, and he's too nonchalant. These guys are too nonchalant. They're not playing like the game is on the line. They're not playing like their season is on the line. They're playing like, oh, this is just another game. And it's not.
Well, you're definitely right about that, Eric. Now it's backs against the wall. I don't understand the lineup change, putting Chisholm fourth. He's batting 170 with a 220 on base percentage. If anything, I thought maybe you would have switched Judge and Soto, maybe put Judge in the 2-hole to get him going maybe a little bit. Or like you said, maybe put him back and put Stanton at third because he's been killing it all October, and it's all or nothing today. And what about Jason Dominguez? This freaking top talented kid is on the roster, and all he does is pitch run in game one. That's all he's done. How come he can't pitch hit for a terrible Verdugo or a terrible Austin Wells or Trevino? What the heck? What's going on? I don't understand.
Can you hear us?
Sorry, Joey. We were trying to.
No, you guys are good.
The technical stuff was working. I think it's on your end because Janice confirmed that she's got sound. So,
all right, cool.
Okay,
I just wanted to make sure. That's all, because I don't hear anything on my end, but that's not a problem. Anyway.
Yeah, because you're talking to us, so you can hear us on the phone.
Exactly.
So you're good. Anyway, my man, keep it going, bro. You're making.
You're good.
The point you're going to is spot on.
It's just all or nothing tonight, man. And the simple fact that our ace isn't going to pitch in a win or go home type of situation is kind of baffling to me. Absolutely baffling as well. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say anymore. This team has really pissed me off. Judge has disappeared. Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. I just don't want to get swept at this point, if I'm being honest.
I haven't watched every at bat. So, I can't sit here and speak like I have, but, what I'm curious to know is with Judge, I know a couple years ago he got really hammered for the strikeouts. Is it he's striking out? Is it pop flies? Is it ground outs?
No, he's striking out and he's just off. You could tell his timing is off. He's not locked in. He's swinging. He's guessing wrong. He's looking fastball and he's swinging over the top of a curve. And when he's looking curve, they're blowing it past him with the fastball. He's not picking up on what they're doing. And some people are saying, well, he's dropping his hip, he's doing this, he's doing that. Like again, there's a lot of technical things with the swing as well, but he's not his MVP self right now. He is in a funk. He's in a slump. He's
probably just tired, to be honest with you.
No, but to be honest, he had a late start to the year, so I thought that actually boded well for him because he actually didn't make it through a lot of
I mean, I see in the chat, I'm not sure who Ran Matendo 77 is, but shout out for joining us. Really appreciate you being on here. And I love Fat Joe anchored the baseball gods. I was kind of shocked. I would have went Jay-Z. I mean, Jay-Z is one of the main reasons that like that Yankee cap is in baseball, in world culture or hip hop culture. I mean, he's literally dropped it in rap lines talking about how, you know, how he's rocking the Yankee fitted and he's got the, you know, the blue Yankee cap on. So I mean, I would have personally went Jay-Z. And I mean, I never had an issue with Fat Joe, but just knowing that that's something we're pointing the finger at. Look, when it's all said and done, when you look at sports, when you look at just a 7-game series in general, once you go down 3-0, it's really a test to the wherewithal a team has. I think it speaks heavily on the leadership in the locker room and the coaching. And I don't say that in terms of like expecting a team to come back from down 3-0, but at least the fight, right? Are you fighting tooth and nail and doing everything you can? Are you legging out that inside, you know, single that you might get thrown out on? But are you legging it out in hopes that maybe they make an error or maybe you can just get there just before the throw? Like that to me, if I'm a Yankees fan, like if I see that tonight and they still lose, I'm still going to be pissed, but it's something I'll be able to move on a little bit easier from compared to seeing them just kind of throw the white towel in because maybe they go down 2-0 after the, you know, third inning. Like that to me is what I'd be watching.
No
as
team
a fan.
down 0-3 in a World Series has forced a Game 6.
Oof. I mean, it's hard to do.
One game at a time.
That's it. That's how you have to have that mentality. You have to have a one game at a time. You have to have you have to have a pulse of your team and see who's ready to come up, especially with your pitchers, especially relief pitcher wise. You have to know who's ready for tonight and who's more timid. You have to be able to go to the guys you can count on tonight out of that bullpen because, I mean, I'm hoping Heal gives them 6 or 7, but you never know. If he only gives 5 and we need that bullpen again, I need Hill. I need Holmes. I need Canely. I need Weaver to be those guys that we know they can be.
And you need your bats. I mean, you need your bats. I mean,
can't win if you don't score.
They're literally
3-2-2. You're not going to win games that way.
They're averaging 2.3 runs a game, basically. That's basically what it boils down to.
Less than 3 runs a game, where they're averaging better than 4. We're not going to win that way. You have to be able to. You have to score. You have to score to win. They say defense wins championships. To be honest, in baseball, it's the offense. You need to score runs.
Well, yeah, because these pitchers are all sick. If you're a starting pitcher in baseball, the things you're able to do with that white ball is insanity. Like when you watch, like that's one thing I will say that I always have appreciated about baseball highlights is when they do that behind the pitcher view, and you see the ball come out of the pitcher's hand and everything's in slow-mo, and you see how this ball starts like at the top of the batter's head and somehow drops down to his knees by the time it gets there, or it starts inside the plate but ends up outside the plate, or you know you just cock it back and you throw it 102, 103 miles an hour. Like what these pitchers can do is nothing short of impressive, and it really does just boil down to making contact and putting the ball in the field to play to get your guys on base. And then obviously the you know, even I know what RISP stands for, right? Runners in scoring position. When that stat is bad,
to be honest, both teams have had terrible stats with runners in scoring position. It's just the very few hits the Dodgers have had with runners in scoring position, they've made them count. Freddie Freeman with the extra inning home run. Another one they had a 2-run double off of, I think. And, so they've been able to weather those storms. Even though they're not hitting well, they've gotten the timely hits. And that's the one thing the Yankees haven't gotten is the timely hit yet. So I think it could come. It starts with one. They got to get one tonight.
Is it fair to say that what Freddie Freeman has done, not only these 3 games, but the final 2 games of the NLCS as well? I mean, 5 games in a row with a home run. I mean, that's where I was going with that. Like, it's fair to say that, like, what?
No, he's the MVP. They win. He can go 0 for 4 tonight. He can be hitless tonight.
Even my mind was like, holy shit, watching that bottom of the 10th home run and game run. Like, even my mind, I was like, wow. Like, talk about a moment. And, like, it was one of those things, like, to me, there's nothing cool.
I don't want to talk about that moment.
It was amazing, and it deserves to be touched on. Because I mean,
it sucked because they brought in Nestor instead of bringing in,
Yes, a guy that hasn't played in a baseball game and pitched against a professional batter in 37 days should not have taken the mound in Game 1 of a World Series extra innings, bases loaded, or not bases loaded, 2 men on, or no, it was bases loaded. They were down 3-2. Yeah, like bases loaded. Game on the line situation. You put a guy in there that's been pitching, that's been playing, that more is mentally and physically prepared for the moment. If you go back on this series, if the Dodgers take it in 4 or 5 or 6, even if they take it in 7, you're going to go back to that decision as one of the main factors.
But I think that's why he gets fired. I think that's why, unfortunately, for Aaron Boone, there has to be somebody who gets held accountable here.
And it's not going to be
Juan Soto's going to be gone. They're not gonna know what to do. And to be honest, the only thing you can do is the same thing they did with Joe Girardi. He's been here long enough. It's not like he hasn't. Boone has had his chance with these teams. We get the Yankees hand Boone a perennial 95 to 100 win team year in and year out. And when it comes time in the playoffs, now again, I don't know if he's getting neutered by the front office. I don't know if he's getting screwed by Cashman and the analytics staff who are telling him you got to make these moves at these times. Or if it's him. If it's him making the move for Nestor. If it's him making this adjustment in the lineup tonight. But clearly, I think it's the wrong one. It better pay off. Because otherwise, to me, these are the moves that should cost Boone his job. And I think he's a great baseball mind. I don't hate on Boone or Girardi. I think they're fantastic baseball people. I think that Boone has a lifetime of history of baseball. His father was a player, or his uncle. He's got his brother. They're a baseball family. He has decades of knowledge. I'm not questioning that, but this team, at some point, it's like with the Giants or with anybody else, at some point you need new leadership. You need a new... It's this way with your Jets, and I mean, this can kind of transition us off of, the baseball here, but, since we're going to be getting off of the baseball, but we can get transition...
Eric's got to get his sound effects in, baby. He's got to do it.
We can transition over to the NFL now. And I mean, one of the other disappointing teams you talk about from a leadership standpoint, from the top down, how the hell did the Jets lose this weekend to the Patriots, who everybody pretty much would say is arguably a top 5 worst team in the league? At best, they're not good. They're under new regime. They're rebuilding. And you're a Jet team that's supposed to have Super Bowl aspirations. This was it. You're all in. You went out and traded for Devontae Adams. You fired a head coach. You do all this happy horse shit. And guess what? Guess where it gets you? Another loss. So when I talk about leadership and a change of mindset, I almost think you got to kiss Rodgers' money goodbye and find a way to get rid of him. I know you got him under contract for next year, but that money's gone anyway. Your team's going nowhere.
They just had last year and this year.
No. I've looked it up. He's under contract for next year.
I thought they were free.
He's under contract for. It might be an option.
They got to hope he's retiring, basically.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, then I'd pay him to sit home. Because at this point, I don't want anything to do with the Aaron Rodgers Jets anymore. They are, and now Joey, you're the Jet fan here. This is coming from a bitter Giants fan who's got his own issues. We'll get into.
Oh yeah, none of the three of us are happy with where our teams are at.
None,
right
but I got to think Joey's got to be the most upset because he's one who came in with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. Legitimately, him and my cousin Michael. I can read my cousin Michael's statements too.
At least playoff
fire
aspirations.
everybody is pretty much what he said because everybody should be gone. Like I don't want to hear them blaming it on a kicker. I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers should be good enough where you shouldn't have to rely on your kicker week after week to get you the win. Aaron Rodgers gets paid that money to be that man who wins you those games, not be the man who hands it off to his kicker to try to win those games. And they're going nowhere. I don't care. Aaron Rodgers can say, oh, we should be a 30-point offense, and we got to get... He's full of shit. At 41 years old, he's immobile. He might be the most immobile quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a back injury, an ankle injury, a knee injury, like...
Got a head injury, if you ask me, because he's a mental patient. I wouldn't go anywhere near him.
I won't argue with that either.
Him and Woody Johnson should be committed. If anything, everybody should be... If every Jet fan out there should be voting for Trump just to get Woody Johnson back to England. Just to get Woody Johnson the hell out of the country.
Yeah, I genuinely think that when you think about what we've seen out of the Jets, that loss in New England had to be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know how else to say it. There's no reason they should have lost to that New England team. That New England team does not have a lot of talent on it. It's starting a rookie quarterback. Hell, New England wins the game and then they traded their best pass rusher yesterday. Like, that tells you where they see themselves as a franchise, and then they still were able to beat the Jets. Too much talent on that team when it comes down to the names, just not performing. Devontae Adams being the loudest voice in the locker room after the loss to the Steelers last week. That just lets you know there's a lack of leadership. A lot of the guys on that team probably could care less about Aaron Rodgers and whatever his opinion is. I think Erich said it perfectly. The guy is pretty much a mental case. The coaching staff is a mess. I don't know what anybody thought. Why? Just because Rodgers liked Hackett, I don't know why anybody thought Hackett would be a difference maker as an offensive coordinator. You take a defensive coordinator and a guy that really nobody's even talked about as a potential head coaching candidate down the road, and you give him the reins, where at least Hackett had the experience as a head coach.
Come on, you can't. Hackett should never coach anything again.
Look, I'm not saying Hackett.
He shouldn't be a high school coach.
His experience was not a good experience, but he had the experience of doing it. But either way, I mean, the Jets, look, we could say the same thing about the Jets, the Cowboys, the Giants.
But you know what we didn't hear anybody say, though?
For the three of us that are doing this show.
Do you know what we haven't heard anybody from the Jets say, though?
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
Nobody from the Jets saying anything like that right now. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the kumbayas from Rodgers. I don't want to hear him on McAfee. I don't want to see you anywhere but on the field trying to win a damn game. And the problem is Aaron Rodgers is too much of a celebrity now and not enough of a football player. And that right there is the Jets in a nutshell. They are going nowhere anytime fast. They need a redo of this whole ball club. And Joey, I'm gonna let you take it from there because I want to hear you. What are you as the Jet fan here? Because this is, again, I'm screaming and yelling, but I'm a Giant fan screaming and yelling. I can only imagine what you're going through. Take the floor, my friend.
Well, you did a lot of screaming and yelling for me, so I appreciate that. I'm in the mode. We're 2-6. Please trade everybody. Trade anybody you can. So you want Tyron Smith? See ya. You want Morgan Moses, C.J. Mosley? I'm even down to trade Breece Hall. Scrap it for the new coaching staff. Give them a ton of picks to start whatever kind of culture they want to start influencing next year.
See, I think the biggest problem with the Jets is exactly the same problem that the Giants have, or that the Cowboys have. Until there's a change all the way at the top, right? The football, right, boils down to the guys that are on the field. But overall, it's still a business. And the game is a business of winning. When your biggest issue starts at the top, it's just going to trickle its way down all the way to the players. And Woody Johnson is a problem for the Jets. The general manager that he hires, who then hires the head coach, who then hires the coaching staff, and then coach and try to bring up the players, right?
So he's the new Wilpon.
It all starts at the top. Now, I don't know enough about Woody Johnson, the human being, or the football mind, but if he's anything like Jerry Jones, you're basically screwed until the guy dies. I hate to say that, but that's the reality. You could send him back to
England. You send him back across the pond. If he goes over there, it would be at least Chris Johnson maybe running the ship. Joe, do you have any faith in Chris Johnson running the ship?
I don't think it matters who runs the ship. This franchise doesn't seem to get it right. They might get it right for a couple of years, and then just all goes to crap, unfortunately. I blame a lot of this on coaching because the GM, his job is to bring in talent, and I think he's done a great job at bringing in talent. I really do, drafting-wise, but the coaching staff is yet to get anything out of this. They can't develop any offensive talent. They can develop defense, which that's great. This is an offensive league. You got to develop offense. And by that, I mean anybody not named Garrett Wilson, who they developed, nobody. So this team, this team just disappoints me on every level, man.
I think that feeling is mutual amongst the three of us for all of our teams.
Well, no, but I think, Dave, you still have a glimmer of hope. I have no hope. I haven't had hope for the last couple weeks.
Have you seen the Cowboys schedule? There is zero hope.
No. But the Jets have so they say, soft schedule coming up. Joey, is there any chance this team could find a way to win 7 games? They got to play the Texans. They get the Cardinals and the Colts. They can beat them. They get a beat-up Dolphins team, a Jaguars team.
They're definitely. I don't see how they beat Houston. Houston did just lose Stephon Diggs. They still don't have Nico Collins. It's basically the Tank Dell show.
So say
in Houston.
They lose to the Texans, and say we'll even take the Bills. They lose to the Bills late in the year. They could beat the Cardinals.
That's 8 losses.
8, but I'm saying to get to 9 wins, they're going to be favored against the Cardinals. They're going to be favored against the Colts. I don't know where they're going to be at against Seattle. They play the Dolphins twice, the Jaguars, and the Rams. To be honest, it's not a tough schedule. Now, whether or not they do it, I think we're all in agreement they're not going to do it. But we can't look at that schedule and say that's a very tough schedule down the stretch.
I mean, Miami's a harder team to beat with Tua coming back. But they're still not a really good football team right now from what we've seen so far this year. But Arizona is hit or miss. Playing in Arizona, I think, hurts the Jets. I think the Colts just came out and said they're benching their second overall pick or their fourth overall pick from last year, even though he's healthy, because dude asked to come out of the game and basically lost the locker room because he was tired. The Rams, I mean, Matthew Stafford getting, we saw last Thursday, that offense is completely different with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua on the field. Like that and with how the running back is playing, why is his name all of a sudden slipping me?
Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams, yes. Thank you, Joey. Where dude scored a touchdown like 7 or 8 straight games or something crazy like that. Offensively, like the Rams are a team I could see getting back into the playoff mix. So that could be a rough game. I don't know. I think it's fair to say at this point, like, I don't know if the Jets get past 6 wins.
Is it possible the Jets are a worse team with Aaron Rodgers than Zach Wilson?
According to the record, they are. With Zach Wilson,
which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, they had less turnovers and more wins with Zach Wilson at this point of the year last year. And that's literally him basically starting every single game with no preseason reps, basically with the ones, because everything was about Aaron Rodgers. Or no, that's a lie. I'm sorry. Rodgers didn't play. I don't think Rodgers played at all during the preseason. But still, like, it's a pretty bad look right now for Rodgers. It's a bad look for. I mean, Breece Hall has only averaged over 4 yards a carry 2 games this entire year. I think he's only broken 100 yards 2 games this entire year. Rodgers just wanted to play with the people he knew. Like, that old man stuck in his ways. He's like, go get me Devontae Adams. I'll play better. They still lose. Right? Like,
yeah, man. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's why I was getting pissed off. I don't want the Green Bay offense from 4 years ago. Everyone's 4 years older. Green Bay moved on from everybody for a reason. And we're like, oh, bring everybody to the Jets. Hell no, man. This is why this team just gets it wrong year in and year out. I'll admit, I was super excited for the Rodgers trade, and of course, it all blows up in our face.
So what you're saying is they needed
clean slate from everything.
So what you're saying is they needed.
More than anything, I want better execution. Are we clear on that? I want better execution.
They need a hell of a lot more than better execution. That's for damn sure. But that's a starting
But speaking
point.
of a team with some balls and an ownership that's not afraid to make a change, but I think it could be too late for the change. You guys got any thoughts on Flacco now getting the start, Richardson getting benched? And by the way, how about Richardson saying he was too tired to stay in on a play? How do you guys feel about that?
He lost the locker room. Flacco, the offense looks better with Flacco.
But I mean, do you think that's the moment he lost the locker room? Is pretty much when he came on, when he?
Oh yeah,
out.
I without a doubt think he lost the locker room, and the coaches realized that if they wanted to stay competitive, because keep in mind, like they played Houston for first place in the division. Like they're right there in the mix for the division, which means they're right there in the mix for a playoff spot. If
But that's a
the
team
case,
that's got a little bit of balls to actually make a decision with a guy who they spent a really high draft pick on in Richardson. I think this is a ballsy move for him. I don't think it pays off for him. I don't think the Colts, they may play a little bit better under Flacco, but to me, they're still not a playoff team.
I could disagree with that. I think Flacco's going to be way better than Anthony Richardson. Like I've been saying, Anthony Richardson is an awesome athlete who's playing quarterback, and that doesn't work. He only had like 20 starts in college. He needs to sit and learn the position from Flacco. He needs to sit for a year or two. Honestly, he needs to do the Michael Penix route right now because clearly, congratulations, you got a rocket arm and you got this awesome athletic ability to run, but that doesn't mean you're a good quarterback. And he's just showing that he's an awful quarterback in the league.
He reminds me of like just that guy where he has these flash plays and everybody gets really excited. And then all of a sudden, like when you get enough film on the guy, you're pretty much done. And I think when that's the reality of the situation, like, I mean, when you look at their schedule, they ended up like with Richardson playing, I believe, the first 2 games. And then Flacco came in on the third against the Bears, if I remember correctly. And if that's the case, right? Nope. So I'm like double checking, like trying to click back and forth here, but maybe it was the Bears game where, yeah. So Flacco took over. His first start was with the Steelers. They ended up going 3-1 with Flacco. They are 1-3 with Richardson.
With Flacco, though, I don't think they beat
% completion rate.
But again, we're talking about Flacco like he's this oh my god savior. He's coming in. He's going to play the Vikings and the Bills. It's going to be 2 losses for them. Like I don't.
He's at least a professional quarterback. He gives them a better shot than Richardson right now.
That I agree with, and also you got to keep in mind they really haven't even had their best player in Jonathan Taylor for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So you give Flacco Jonathan Taylor. They've got some weapons on the outside. I think the offense. I think Joey said it perfectly. He's a professional NFL quarterback, and he gives them the best chance to win. And more importantly, The locker room believes in Flacco. They have apparently lost belief in Anthony Richardson after what happened this past Sunday.
I'm gonna die on this hill. They lose the Colts are gonna lose the next 4 in a row. They're losing to the Vikings, the Bills. I think they're gonna lose at the Jets, and they're gonna get beat by the Lions. By the time that's over, their playoff hopes and dreams are over. And I'm sorry, I think at 4 and 8 or whatever they'll be at that point. I think they're done. I think they lose the next 4 in a row. I think again they may play slightly better. These games might be close, but I don't see a way they're beating this Vikings team the way the Vikings have played all year. The Bills are one of the best teams in the AFC. The Jets better do something this season, and the Lions are one of the better teams in the NFC. I don't see a win here. Tell me where I'm wrong. Other than the Jets, because the Jets absolutely suck. But other than that, tell me in the next 4 where they're getting a loss.
I mean, the Vikings have lost 2 in a row, so you gotta assume they're going to be able to bounce back at home
Minnesota
on Sunday night. The Bills, I mean, we've seen Josh Allen and this Bills team. They're a roller coaster. They could drop 50 on you, or they could barely score 17. The Jets, I definitely think that's a game that they can win. The Lions, I don't think they beat. The Lions are probably look the best out of every team in the league right now. And I mean, that's why they play the games, right? Any given Sunday, I think Flacco gives them the better chance to win than Anthony Richardson does. That's what I'll say.
The better chance to win, yes, but do they get those wins now?
But just to keep us moving, because I mean, who really cares about the Colts overall? Can we talk about other rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks, especially the 2 rookie quarterbacks that went against each other this past Sunday, and the Hail Mary loss for the Chicago Bears? But no,
I'm not going to feel heartbroken for the Bears.
No, I don't feel bad for the Bears. What I think is funny is the one Bears defender that's standing by the end zone talking shit to the Commanders fans, and then turns around as the guys are already sprinting downfield.
Yeah, but then if you look at that, no. But then if you keep going with that play, he's the one who jumped up and actually tipped the ball.
Yeah.
So again, at least
Washington wide receiver.
But he got up and made the play. It's not his fault that nobody was behind him, because again, you can't let people behind you. You have enough defenders that there should be a body on a body.
Yes.
And if somebody's jumping up and you're not that guy jumping up, then you should be getting on somebody else.
Yeah.
And to me, that's where the failure was. So everybody can laugh at that guy who was making fun of the fans and whatever. It is in a way, but at the same time, at least he got up and made a play. At least he tried.
It's funny.
He didn't just stand there throughout the whole play.
He sprint halfway across the field just to even get into position. That is idiotic.
But he made the play.
Yes, he tipped the ball to help Washington win the game. Good for him. Noah Brown maybe was, maybe he wasn't the guy that his body should have been on, instead of standing over in the corner talking nonsense to the Commanders fans. That's funny. It's idiotic. It should be embarrassing. And I mean, you got to assume the guy learned his lesson. I highly doubt he will ever do that again. But holy crap. That one I've never seen. I've seen the Hail Marys. I've seen the tip pass where the guy ends up in the end zone alone and gets the ball. I've seen the crazy jump balls where the guy comes down with it. I've seen all of it. But I have never in my life seen a guy, as the receivers are running down the field to the end zone, have his back to all those players so that he could talk nonsense to the fans.
But again, if you think about the situation, he was already standing in the end zone. It's not like he ran to the end zone while everybody else was still there and then was screaming at the fans. He was doing it because he was already standing there and the fans were giving him shit. He turned around, said something. Again, everybody knew the ball wasn't getting thrown yet. These guys had to get to the end zone. So until they got there, he didn't have anything to do. I have zero issue with this whatsoever.
It's so
Again, I don't think it cost them the game. I think what cost them the game is
he's
poor
the guy
defense.
that tipped the ball, right?
Yeah, but that didn't cost him the game.
Who'd
He's
he
the only
tip
guy
the ball to?
he made the play. Otherwise, it would have fell right in the guy's hands.
It definitely wouldn't have.
He was supposed to knock the ball down. What you're supposed to do is knock the ball down, and he tried to knock it down.
His mind was more caught up in talking nonsense to the fans than doing his job on the play.
He jumped higher than anybody else.
He had to panic and sprint over there. If he was paying attention,
still got up higher than anybody else to make the tip.
Joey, settle it. You tell me. You tell us. Who out of the two of us has more of a
It's not
proper
to me.
point?
It's not. It's a people make a bigger deal of it because of the way the play ended. If the play ended a different way, nobody's talking about this today.
Oh, it still would have been talked
No.
about.
I think it still would have been talked about. I agree with Dave. I think it was silly and stupid on his part. Like, yo, brother, game's not over yet. You got to bat that down. Maybe it was his responsibility to be in the back of the tip drill just in case it does get tipped or whatever. I don't know, man. It is just there's a lot of luck that goes into it, and it was a hell of a game at least between the number 1 and the number 2 pick. And I'm just right when I said if Jaden Daniels was playing, that Washington would win. Yeah.
He made a point when he picked the game last week. If Jaden Daniels played, that they would win.
No,
They probably shouldn't have won.
No, they
But he
should
made a
have.
good point.
Listen, no problems with that play at the end.
There's a lot of luck
Jaden
that
Daniels
goes into
outplayed him. Jaden Daniels outplayed Caleb Williams. I'm sorry, he
No,
did.
definitely.
And Jaden Daniels, your clear cut right now, got to be your
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. What Washington's doing in general and the way you hear the players talk about Dan Quinn, you heard the same things about him as a defense coordinator in Dallas. You heard the same things about him when he was the head coach in Atlanta. Players love playing for Dan Quinn. There's no other way to put it. Players love playing for Dan Quinn. It's that simple.
I think it's amazing that they switched what a plus up he's done. You know what I mean? Like what are they 6-2 now?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
4-0 at home. Unlike my Giants, who I'm going to transition there because they just keep getting their asses handed to them. They are not they're not disciplined, that's for sure. Way too many penalties. This is just, again, part of a disappointing New York night where even the Knicks lost last night. It was just losses, L's all around for every New York fan. But
L's
the fact
everywhere.
that they're still sticking with Jones, even though Jones is trash, the way, to me, I think Dable's losing the locker room. And I hate to say that because I think he could be a good coach. I think he could be a good coach maybe somewhere else. But he's losing the locker room, in my opinion. You can't keep sending out Daniel Jones and expect... It's the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You're not going to get him. He's not any good. At some point, it's like you just need some winners. And Daniel Jones, to be honest, even when he was in college, was not a winner. He's not. He's a football player. Can he be a good football player at times? Sure. But is he a winner? No, he's not. He's never won anything. Maybe he won something back in high school, but through college and the NFL, he's been a losing quarterback. He's not good. He wasn't that great in college, but everybody was enamored with him because Eli worked out with him and other people worked out with him, and they were like, oh, he's our guy. He's got a dopey look about him. He's got to be the next Eli. You know what I mean? And that's just not the way it works, unfortunately. He's got all the dopey and he's got none of the
But he
skill.
doesn't nail the faces like Eli did. I mean, when Eli made the face, there was nothing like a good Eli face. That is for sure. No question about it. That's for sure. Now, my question is, let's say the Giants lose this coming week as well. Like, at what point do you just bench Daniel Jones and put in the didn't they draft the guy in like the late rounds?
No, they didn't. That was the Jets. They drafted the kid out of Florida State.
Jordan Travis.
Yeah. No, the Giants really don't have anybody. They have Drew Lock.
Oh, there you go.
And they have
Or
Tommy
Tommy
Cutlets.
DeVito.
And neither of them are the answer. To be honest with you, like it was sad that the Giants were even in this game for like half a second. It was embarrassing. And unfortunately, it's not going to get any better right now for the Giants until they make some fundamental changes. And as good as the defense is playing, Sexy Dexy, it could be the defensive MVP, of the league.
He's such a monster.
But at the same time, the rest of the team is a bunch of paper tigers or nothing. And this offense, which was supposed to be better, bringing in Singletary, adding Malik Neighbors, getting all these weapons for Jones, and this is Jones' year. You heard about it. You heard about it in the Hard Knocks. Oh no! Why would we ever pay a $12 million running back to be our guy when we have a $40 million quarterback? They're eating those words. We are where the Giants are because Shane and Dable, and really it was Joe Shane, made these decisions for the Giants. To be honest, the move was signing Saquon and getting rid of Jones, and instead they made the wrong move and got rid of the wrong guy, and now we are in the same hell the Jets are. The only difference is we're being run by a GM who thinks he's like some great mastermind, and the Jets are being run by a quarterback who thinks he's some great mastermind. Either way, both ownerships have their heads up their asses because the Giants are way too loyal. Plus, they don't want to be known as a franchise who just keeps getting rid of coaches, and the last few have been gone after a few years.
After
you look
2
at
years.
Pat Shurmur, you look at Ben McAdoo, you look at
After Coughlin, not one coach has made it past the second season.
So Dable has now,
except for Dable.
Yeah,
But that's what I mean. Like you're talking about, like don't want to be known as that, but
that's where we're at. And until you find the right pairing, until you find your Leon Rose, you're stuck in hell. You're stuck in what the Knicks were stuck in for 20 years and everybody blaming James Dolan. You're stuck with everybody blaming Woody Johnson or blaming the Wilpons or blaming ownership because they're not getting the right pieces in place underneath them.
I'm sorry. I just realized how much money I would have paid to see your reaction to that 2-point conversion attempt on Monday night.
To be honest, I was watching the Yankees lose
how much I would have
during
paid.
that. But, I mean, it's
God.
absolute trash, this team. And they're not getting any better. And unfortunately, the Maras and the Tishes are falling into the same nonsense that these other guys are falling into. That the Woody Johnsons and the Wilpons
Jones.
the Jerry Jones, they're getting in their own way. And the Maras are getting in their own way now because, as you heard them say again in the Hard Knocks, he says, I don't want to have to look back and regret sleeping at night because Saquon's on the Eagles. Well, guess what? Saquon has now torched us with the Eagles, and the Eagles look like a much better team, even though they don't look great. They look like juggernauts compared to the Giants. And right now, Mara, if he's thinking, to be honest, I know you don't want to do it, but I think you have to fire. To me, I wouldn't even fire the coach. I'd fire the GM because the GM seems to be the one pulling the trigger here. The GM seems to be the one making these moves. To be honest, I think Dable wanted to keep Saquon. I think Dable didn't want to keep Daniel Jones. And I've always said I want to see what Dable can do with a capable quarterback. I saw what he could do with Josh Allen. I wanted the Giants to get a capable quarterback, and they haven't gotten that for him yet. So I really don't want to let go of Dable. But unfortunately, I think he's going to be the first guy gone. Because Shane's not going to want to give up his job, and he's going to go to ownership saying, oh, let's make a coaching change, trying to save his ass. And
then in comes Belichick.
To be honest, I don't know. And it looks like you guys might get Rex Ryan back the way Rex Ryan's talking. He's out there screaming and yelling, saying he hopes to be on the interview. He wants an interview. He's a Jet at heart, a Jet for life.
I want the Lions offensive coordinator.
He's got a tattoo of a Jet jersey on him. So
It's such a Jet move. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh my God, Sexy Rexy back in New York.
You can't call him Sexy Rexy now that we got Sexy Dexy.
Well, you definitely can call him Sexy Rexy. Thanks. I mean, the weight he's lost since he was coaching. Rex looks good on TV, man. The makeup, everything. I'm sure that'll go away the second he steps on the sideline, if he ever steps on the sideline again. I don't think the Jets go back to that. I think, if anything, that's more a media headline grabber, especially being in the New York market. But I think overall, when you think about it, and I've already said this once or twice today, the Jets suck, the Giants suck, the Cowboys suck. This is not the football season any of us hope for. Fantasy has been rough the last 2 weeks.
Or an all-encompassing kind of suck?
I'm going to go with the all-encompassing suck. Like, from what I watched Dallas do on Sunday night against San Francisco, being up 10-6, and then getting trounced in the third quarter, giving up 21 unanswered points, to then come back in the fourth and score 2 basically meaningless touchdowns just so that stat gods can make a few people look good. Dak Prescott for one of them, Mike McCarthy for another one. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy, right? Like, I mean, I guess there's some pros that came out of that on the fantasy world. That's where my mindset's officially moved to. I'm waving the white flag.
8-0 in iHeart, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard. I heard. My mom was pissed. She had the win on you, I guess, after Monday night, and then they adjusted the stats this morning and gave you the win. Mom was pissed today. She's like, "How's that happen?" I'm like, "They adjust stats. They go back and they basically do a quick recalc." And she's like, I won by 0.85, and now he beat me by 1.2 something. I was like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, Mom. But at this point, I root for you to go undefeated because nobody's ever ran the table in any fantasy league I've ever been in. And I don't expect you to be the one to do it either. So keep winning, my friend. I'm all for it. But either way, I think that my mindset and pretty much the three of us as a whole have mentally shifted to the world of fantasy football and perhaps some sports betting for football. And I don't know how else to transition us into this coming week other than talking about that because
we're definitely going to be getting way more into the NHL and NBA around here only because football is going to become irrelevant. Like as far as the
games
actual
and our
meaning
teams,
for the games.
I'm rooting for a top 10 draft pick at this point because I think Dallas does have some talent on this roster. There's areas that they need help, specifically the interior of their defensive line. Zach Martin, I'm pretty confident, is retiring after this year. He just does not look like his old self this year. So Dallas needs to start winning in the trenches. They need another wide receiver. There's a lot of needs that they have. The Jets, obviously, pretty sure you're going to see a lot of turnover there. The Giants, you're going to see some turnover.
Going to your Cowboys, though, and to focus this up here a little bit, going into some picks for the week. I don't want to pick the Texans-Jets game, I'll be honest, because I just think
hell no.
Jets are just
we're all taking
terrible.
the Texans.
Somehow the Jets are a 2-point favorite. And if you're a betting man, put all your money on the Texans. Like, bet the house, bet the farm, bet it all. Because I have no idea how you're getting points right now with the Texans.
I'd actually take the over, too.
Well,
that's
it's like Dave said, the receivers are hurt. That's why I think they don't think
Diggs is hurt, but I mean
Nico Collins is out.
And so is
He's
Nico.
On IR.
So
yeah, they still got Tank Dell. They still got Mixon. They still got other weapons. I'm sorry. The Jets have shown
Eric.
nothing. They've shown no life. They've shown no pulse. Why would anybody make them a favorite right now? That's an embarrassing spread.
I mean, I would, this early in the week.
If I'm the Texans, I'm putting that spread up in the locker room, and I'm using that as motivation. Guys, they actually think the Jets are a better team than you. Vegas is saying the Jets are a better team than you right now.
That shit show in New York.
They are predicting that shit show in New York is going to beat you this week. They are the favorites this week. The 2-6 Jets are the favorites this week. By all means, I'm putting at least $5 down on the Texans. Again, not big money here because I don't got big money. I will throw $5 down on the Texans getting 2. To me, that's an easy money. Like, that's stupid.
Well, parlay it with the Cowboys, Falcons, and the Falcons getting 3 or giving 3 because I think the Falcons.
I love the Cowboys getting 3. I'll be honest. I know they've had problems, but they're 3-1 on the road. The Falcons haven't been as good at home, 2-3 at home. It's only a 3-point spread, which means if they played on a neutral field, it would be even.
Way. Yeah.
I actually like if it's going with the spread, I would take the Cowboys getting 3 because I think it could be a really close game. I think this could come down to a field goal. I think the over 51.5 is pretty crazy, but again, both teams can score too. So I don't know where I would go with that, but I'm just saying, Cowboys, I would take them +3 this week. I don't know if I'd take them straight up, but I love them getting +3.
After what I've seen, and unless you tell me Parsons is coming back and DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back, like that Dallas.
I heard Micah was.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, he's rehabbing, but Dallas needs a lot of help. Defensively, they need help. Offensively, they need help. There's nothing going right for Dallas other than the fact that Jerry Jones is getting his media attention like he always does. or the fact that Dallas, when they play on Monday night in a couple weeks, they're going to be in Springfield with the Simpsons. And I'm actually promising you, I will without a doubt be watching the Cowboys through the Simpsons lens, because I really need something to make this team fun to watch, and that's about all I've got right now. So I'm a rock with the Simpsons on Monday night when the Cowboys play the Bengals. But for this game, I'll take Atlanta laying the given the 3 points. And
Parsons
I
questionable,
would take the
Dowdle questionable
under.
though. So
That Dowdle thing was, I think that is nothing more than Jerry Jones wanting his older guys and news, because that was one of the crazy dudes showed up to the game, coming down the tunnel, rapping his music, going out for his warm up, signing autographs for fans, and then all of a sudden, 90 minutes before kickoff, is listed as sick and out for the game. So, I don't know what the hell's going on. I think Jerry's starting to go senile. There's a lot of things I think about this Cowboys team right now, and none of them are positive. So,
any quick thoughts on Tua coming back and not wearing to wear a Guardians cap? And I'll just throw it out that way. We don't got to talk about what we think of the game this week or whatever. I know he's just
I think
come
he
back.
should wear it, but it's a personal choice. I think it's a dumb choice, but you're a grown ass man to get to make your
But
own
at
choices.
some point, should it no longer be a personal choice? Should that helmet, if you get to say 2 concussions, if you've been concussed more than once, or if you want to say more than once in a season, or say 3 times in a 2-year span, that you have to wear that helmet for either the remainder of the season, the next season coming up, whatever. Should they put some kind of rule in place for that? Because it's an interesting question to have, because if it's supposed to be better for them and it really doesn't, I don't know how it affects them on the field. I've never worn one of those Guardian caps, so I have zero feel for how it would be if you're too big a bobblehead.
To make it mandatory, it would have to be in the collective bargaining agreement.
I think that's the next thing, but I'm just saying, would that be something that, would you as a player want to fight for, or would you as an owner want to fight for?
I don't think the players want to fight for it. I mean, you got to figure maybe 1% of the league wears it during games. I don't think I think the players are okay with it during the preseason games and practices, because they don't want, if you're going to get a concussion.
I think you're going to see more and more wear them, though.
Over the coming
years, I think it's going to be within the next few years. Most of the league, within the next 10 years, I'll bet you more than 50% of the league.
But brain injuries are something that could last for an entire lifetime. They suck. I don't want to see it happen. But I just don't think, unless it's in the collective bargaining agreement, I just don't think there's any way for them to force a player to wear it. That's
Joey, what do you think? You for or against some kind of rule?
Eric, I actually agree with you. I don't know about a rule per se, but I could see the league within the next 5 to 10 years, most of the players starting to use them, having the league enforce more of it. I don't know about a rule, but I could definitely see the league going toward that.
All right. And with that said, you got a game for us? You got a pick for us? You got a spread you like? What are you looking at this week, Joey?
I'm looking at the Broncos and the Ravens. What do we got? The Baltimore Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite, according to ESPN Bet. So I would take the Broncos getting the 9.5, because Bo Nix has been doing pretty well the past 3-4 weeks. He's been getting better and better. The Baltimore pass defense is ass, and I think they can take advantage of that. Sean Payton's a good coach. They got a great D. I think Surtain comes back this week. And, I think they keep it close. I don't think they win the game, but I think they keep it within 9.5. So I would take Denver getting the points, and we'll go over. It's a 45.5-point spread, and I'd go over on that.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised at what we've seen from Denver. I definitely, from the way Bo Nix started to what we're seeing now, is definitely improvement. And if there's one thing Sean Payton can do, he can get the most out of a quarterback.
Definitely.
I think I would definitely take Denver getting the 9.5. I think I'd also take the under. But when it comes down to just straight outright, I think Baltimore wins the game itself. But when we're talking betting, I understand why they're saying Baltimore's given 9.5, but that Denver defense is a beast.
They
and if
are,
they get
but
Surtain back, that's. I mean,
I
I
also
know
forgot something.
you got Deontay Johnson and just got traded to Baltimore, but I mean, it takes. I mean, wide receivers, especially when they've never played with a quarterback or played in a scheme before, it takes a couple games. So I don't think he's going to have a huge impact in that first game. But yeah, I'd take Denver getting the 9.5. That's for sure. And
I'm going
I
to
would
say
take
something
the under.
controversial. And maybe it's not controversial, but I'm going to die on this hill. I don't think Deontay Johnson makes a difference. I don't think he's a difference maker.
He
I don't
just
think
gives
he's,
them a more consistent number two than Bateman. That's all it is. I don't think he doesn't swing the needle. I don't
gives
think
him more depth.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you on that. I think he's more consistent than Bateman. Bateman's basically like, hey, hit me deep or don't hit me at all.
Yeah, but to me, I actually like the Chiefs trading for Hopkins way more than I like the Ravens trading for
I
Johnson.
would agree. What I like is it's an arms race. You're basically seeing Buffalo, Baltimore, and Kansas City all say, "Hey, like when we look at the rest of our conference, we know it's boiling down to us. Let's rack up our weapons, let's build up our talent, and let's really go after this and see who's going to come out on top." And that part I like. The NFL doesn't do this very often. I think there's been more trades already this year than I may have ever seen in one single year, or at least in a 2 to 3 week span, that didn't involve the actual trade deadline week. That might be the more accurate way to say it, but still, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I can't wait to watch Baltimore and Buffalo, or Baltimore and Kansas City, or Kansas City Buffalo. Like, I can't wait to watch those matchups in the playoffs. It should be a great time, and I hope we get at least one of them, if not both of them.
But looking at this week,
two of the three.
I'm going to throw another thing out there. I don't think they're 5-3, yeah. But I don't look at the Broncos as a team that's anywhere close to being a contender.
No, I don't think anybody does.
And
but their
as
defense
good as they're
keeps
playing
them in
out there,
games.
as good as they're playing at 5-3, guess what? Kansas City's still undefeated.
Oh yeah, I'm not sold on Denver as a.
I think even if they get in as a wild card, they're one and done.
I would agree. I don't think anybody would disagree.
Yeah, but I think that's a successful season for them this year. if they
Oh,
make
way
the
more
playoffs.
successful than any season we're looking at, Joey, but still at the same point. I look at them playing the Ravens this week, and I don't see any way they win. So, I mean, I know we got to get going here in a minute. We got the Yankee game starting, but I know we got another pick here from Joey, or not from Joey, from Dave coming in. I know he's looking around, trying to see what grabs his eye.
I got to be honest. I think the game that grabs my eye, just because we haven't really done a shit show game yet, I think we're going to look at the Saints in Carolina. I mean, the Saints are just not a talented football team right now. And then the craziest part was I saw somebody post, like, even if they move on from some of their biggest contracts, for the projected salary cap next year, they're still $70 million over the projected salary cap for next year. And that includes if they try to move on
Because they're
from
giving
Kamara,
people stupid contracts.
Yeah. But Carolina is basically throwing it. They threw in the towel in the offseason when they traded Burns to the Giants. And then then you end up benching your second-year quarterback. And then
He's
you
not
try
going to be starting.
right? Yeah, then you have to play
Number
him.
1 overall pick.
Yeah, and you sold the farm for that guy. And then you trade arguably one of your best, if not your best wide receiver. So now your best player is Hubbard, who, don't get me wrong, he's played some good football the last several weeks, but still, that's your best player. I mean, this is just an ugly game overall. New Orleans is giving 7 points. Sounds like some Yankee fans are getting excited. They got fireworks going out there, or they're Dodger fans pre-celebrating. I don't know which one it is. But you have the Saints giving 7 to Carolina in a division game where they're on the road. I'm taking Carolina getting the 7 points, and I'm taking the under because neither team has an offense that scares anybody. So when it comes down to a straight-up pick, I'll take the Saints to win, but I'm taking Carolina getting the 7.
I'd take Carolina at home getting the 7, but again, I think this is... It's almost so shitty I don't want to pick it. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Fife, if you're out there, my man, I hope you're proud of me, brother. I picked a shit show that even Erich doesn't want to flush for. Let's go.
It's staying in the bowl.
thought
It's
you
a
would've
bowl
went.
stainer. It's bad.
I thought you were going
bad.
to go Titans Patriots. That's just as bad too.
Yeah,
mean,
but
if you don't-
this one's really bad. I mean, to be honest, I thought he was going to go with a much better game like the Lions and the Packers, because that's for first place in the
my.
division. Detroit giving 3.5. They're on the road in Green Bay. That's a big time game. I don't know if we're gonna have Jordan Love though. I don't know what his status is.
He's considered day to day, but after a groin injury plus the high ankle sprain, just at the beginning of the season.
So that one intrigued me. Bears Cardinals intriguing. I think that's a pretty even matchup for the week, but and then nobody's gonna take the Bucs over the Chiefs. So, but I mean, shit show though. To go back to that Panthers Saints game, to be honest, this might be a game where I take the Panthers straight up. They have nothing going on well with the Saints right now, and it might be a really close, really shitty, 17-16 ball game where the Panthers find a way to get a second win of the year, but because there's not many wins on the schedule for them. Like at home against a 2-6 Saints team with no Carr, and all the problems they have and all the injuries they have. If the Panthers can't win this game, then I don't think they win another game all year. So I would take the Panthers straight up too in this absolutely awful game.
And then real quick, I'm just gonna I'll take the Saints given the points. I think the Panthers are that bad. They're in sell mode. They're trying to trade anyone they can. Give me the Saints.
That's why, though. I think you might get a couple of tryhards on the field who are trying to make a name for themselves.
And Carr's back, too, so I think you're going to...
Carr is back.
I didn't know that.
If Carr's back, then it changes it. I'd take the Saints. I didn't know Carr was back. I thought this was still just the Rattler version of the Saints.
Well, I mean, it's Tuesday. I heard he's supposed to come back.
If he comes back, then I'm putting a Joey clause on this. Like he did last week with the Commanders, and if Carr plays, it's a Saints win. If Carr does not play, it's a Panthers win.
I mean, I think that's fair, but yeah, I mean, you put the little disclaimer on this game pick. Whether Carr plays or not, I think with the 7, I'm taking the Panthers because I mean the Saints outside of Olave and Kamara have nobody that scares you on offense. It's just gonna be a shit show game. Yeah, it's gonna be a shit show game. Hence the pick. Fife, I hope you're proud of me, my man. But
so we got anything else in the chat real quick before we get going? Just figure
it dropped down. But I don't know if my boy Billy's still listening, but
I don't know if anybody said anything in there. But
it's been a tad quiet. So
well, it's a good time to get going to first pitch then. Let's go.
3 minutes till first pitch. So
let's do this. Hey, Joey, thank you for joining us. We know you've been a little under the weather, but, hey, we're just happy you're able to join us, even if it's just by phone. Always happy to have you, my friend. Where can some people find you on? Where can some people find you on some social medias?
You guys can find me on Instagram at JoeyDoth47. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Dave, where can they find you?
Wait, by the way, what does Doth stand for?
Oh, right. That's a good thing that you got to make that point, Joey.
And we're so close to 30 subscribers.
Die on this hill. It's an acronym.
And we're so close to 30 subscribers on this hill. The subscribers on YouTube. We hit 25 last week. Want to try to get us 30. So if you did listen... like, subscribe, share, follow, do all those free fun things for us because it just helps us grow. We're growing slowly, but hey, slow and steady wins the race. So let's go. You can find Dave where at, Dave?
D Hastings 23 on Twitter, also known as X, and David Hastings 23 on the Instagram, the IG, or also known as the Gram.
And until next time, you can find me at The Living Legend on X. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast or on YouTube at Die on This Hill. And yeah, I guess until next time, don't be afraid to follow Louie on Instagram too at Louie Dude, our unofficial fourth host here. And until next time, don't be afraid to have an opinion. Don't be afraid to get a win tonight, Yankees.
Go Yankees. I don't say that at all in my life, so I'll get it out there. Hopefully it makes a difference. Go Yankees. Get that dub. Let's go. Keep the series alive.
No sweep.
Let's go.
And don't be afraid to die on that hill with us.